The New York Jets lose to the Baltimore Ravens 23-10. They fall to 2-9 on the season. This is the Gang's All Here Postgame Live Show. I'm Ryan Sampson. That's my guy, Frankie Vittorini from U Stadium. We'll start off with saying, hello, Frankie. How are you doing today after watching another just vanilla, boring Jets loss to the Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah, Ryan, at this point in the season, I think we can all confidently say that the emotions have sort of subsided overall. I'm not overly high. I'm not overly low, just sort of baseline at this point. This team is they are who we kind of thought they were a few weeks ago. They don't have enough talent on offense to score points. And the defense, which has been playing better, doesn't do anything special. They don't, again, another week without an interception, which breaks an NFL record, I believe, for a team's first 11 games without having an interception. This Jets team, Ryan, like you just said, it's vanilla, and there's really nothing special going on out there. So we could go through the game. I have some notes here as to what led to Baltimore's sort of easy win come the second half, because the first half it was tight. But yeah, it is what it is. Jets covered, though. They cover all the 13.5 people. You got
good point.
Baltimore won by 13. So hopefully you made some bread there. Hopefully.
Well, look, we'll start off with just really what happened in this game. I mean, I think overall my takeaway is that it was a nothing burger from the offense in terms of like really things you could take away. I mean, you could say you saw some nice moments, I would say, Frankie, from John Metchie, from Adonai Mitchell, nice moments from Breece Hall in the passing game. But Tyrod was pretty mediocre at best, I would say, which is what you kind of expect from a backup quarterback. You don't expect him to light the world on fire. And, going for 17-28, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception at the end, where he threw it up. 3 sacks he took. I thought he held the ball a little bit longer in the second half, waiting for guys to get open. Yeah, man, I think it was pretty vanilla. I mean, I think the Jets got away from Breece Hall a little bit in the second half, and then they got to him on that second to last drive where it's like, where the hell were you using Breece in the second? Like, you didn't use him at all pretty much in the first half. You didn't use him in the second half either. It's like, now all of a sudden you start to give the ball to Breece. It's like, I just wish there was more consistency in using Breece Hall. So there's like questions I have about this Jets offense and the play caller, Tanner Engstrand. I think today was not a good day for him in terms of drawing up schemes and play call. I thought it was pretty vanilla. On the 3rd and 8, late in the fourth quarter, the Jets are backed up in their own like almost goal line, and they're drawing up a play action pass, and Tyrod's turning around, and there's no one open downfield. It's pretty basic for the Ravens to call a blitz, pressure off to the right side. I just text you. I'm like, there's nowhere to go with the ball because it's a very predictable offense right now. Guys are waiting to get open. Look, A.D. Mitchell and John Metchie are nice pieces, but they're not star wide receivers. You're hoping you could develop something with them and find them to have roles. But I think overall, Frankie, this is a rough day for Tanner Engstrand and this Jets offense again. Really didn't take a step forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets tried to establish a run today, it seemed like. They wanted to come out there and run, and they really weren't getting anything going on the ground. Breece Hall, he did have a nice game through the air, but on the ground he had 16 carries for 44 yards. That's not going to get it done. 2.8 yards to carry. Isaiah Davis was even worse, 4 carries for 7 yards. And that play, Ryan, you want to speak about third down plays that were a little bit mind-boggling. Yeah. That 3rd and 7 was not the proper diagnosis there by not, though, Tanner Engstrand. He's not at fault there. I blame Tyrod on that play because he checked out of whatever was called. It may have been a run that was called on that 3rd and 7, but Tyrod checked out of it and went to sort of like an HB dive to Isaiah Davis. And
if fans are wondering, this is the second drive of the game. The Jets were at 3rd and 7 at the Baltimore 44. Again, you're in no man's land at this point where you're on the opposite side of the 50, but you're outside field goal range because it's 60 yards from there for Nick Folk, who it's probably a tough field goal for him to hit in a windy Baltimore stadium. And yeah, Tyrod, like you said, checks out of a play, it looks like, and they go to a Isaiah Davis halfback dive for 2 yards. And then you're wondering 4th and 5. It's like, all right, are they going to do the Detroit Lions thing where we got the ball a little bit closer on 3rd and 7 running the ball? Now let's get the ball into Tyrod's hands and go for it on 4th down. They don't do it, man.
Yeah, and I told you, I texted you this. You have to pick up more than 2 yards if you're audibling out of a play on a 3rd and 7 on their side of the field. You have to get more than 2 yards. If you get 4 yards there and it's 4th and 3, not only does it make the fourth down conversion more manageable, the fourth down more manageable, it also allows you to maybe kick or attempt a 58-yard field goal. So it's little things like that in football games that this Jets team just really doesn't get yet. And it usually doesn't really go our way for the
No.
most part. You saw again later on in the game, probably the most important drive of the game. The second drive of the third quarter, we go 4 plays, 8 yards. It's a 4th down. We don't get it on Baltimore, on our side of the field, excuse me. And that really set up Baltimore to sort of take that game because they would not only score a touchdown the drive before that, we go 4 plays, 8 yards, leaving, and then Tyrod tries to get Metchie on the right side there.
Yep.
Again, they ran it with Isaiah Davis on 3rd and 4. Again, he only got 2 yards. 4th and 2, we don't get it. You give Baltimore the ball back with only 42 yards to go on your side of the field. They scored again, and that was 17-7. Game, set, match right there. I didn't like the play calling on 4th down today. I didn't like the play calling really on any short yardage today. Yeah, I mean, listen, we could talk about the play calling all day, but
it wasn't good,
it's not
Frankie. You
enough.
have to admit, this was not a good day for Tanner Engstrand again.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a good day, but I don't think it.
Wouldn't you agree you were hoping to get more out of him and out of Tyrod with this passing attack when you got away from Justin, right? Like you said earlier this week, the Jets are getting away from Justin. They're getting away from Justin Fields. They're turning the page. They're going to Tyrod, hoping to get more out of this passing attack. They didn't get much out of this passing attack. In fact, it was invisible with the tight ends usage, which I don't understand. And they didn't use Breece in the passing attack, Frankie, until the second half, almost to the fourth quarter almost. It just felt frustrating that Tanner Engstrand could not get this passing game going really on a consistent basis besides that first half drive before the end of the halftime.
Yeah, I find myself going back and forth here. I tend to agree with you to a degree, but where I kind of push back a bit is, are these just receivers not good enough for you to go into a game against Baltimore, whose secondary was actually playing well this year, on the road? I mean, like, you might have maxed out what you could have from that Tyrod Taylor, John Metchie, 80 Mitchell connection there. Also, I don't think the O-line, Ryan, played all that well today. I thought they gave up a ton of pressures. I thought Tyrod didn't do a great job of feeling out those pressures, of moving in the pocket to avoid pressures. I mean, Tyrod, you got to move around a little bit. If you see a stunt going on by their defensive ends on your right side, you got to know you got to move a little bit up left in the pocket and try to get that clean passing lane for yourself, which he just sometimes doesn't do or doesn't see. But no, Ryan, listen, it wasn't a great day from the play caller, but again, I always push back with, is there enough talent on this team?
That's a good question by you about enough talent. I mean, again, you have 80 Mitchell now, you have John Metchie, you still have Lazard, you still have Josh Reynolds. It just actually, did Reynolds even play today? He might have been banged up today, but like he didn't get targeted at all if Reynolds was playing today.
Yeah.
Mason Taylor, 3 catches for 21 yards. Yeah, I mean, Breece Hall was your leading receiver today, and he had 75 yards receiving, but like he had 74 yards receiving the last 5 games. I think it is some kind of stat they had for him, but like, I don't know. There's just zero consistency, Frankie, for this offense. There doesn't feel like there's a rhythm, and that's where I blame the offensive coordinator that's a rookie doing this for the first time. The short yardage play calling has been atrocious, to say the least, all year long, not just today. And in my opinion, I just think that you're looking at a guy in Tanner Engstrand who's trying to figure it out. And I don't think he can right now. Like, he is truly trying to say, like, what can I do with Tyrod? Can I get the ball to John Metchie more? Can I get the ball to Adonai Mitchell more? Can I use my tight ends more? Those are questions you keep asking yourself. Like, can you use Breece Hall more in the passing game? Split him out at wide receiver. Isaiah Davis is pretty good as a pass catcher as well. Can you use him more in the passing game? Man, it was very vanilla. It didn't feel like there was anything drawn up where you're like, oh, that was good. That was a good pass play. That was a good scheme right there.
Yeah, I wish they would be able to use Breece Hall in more unique ways in the passing game. I mean, like, listen, those plays he had at the end was just Breece Hall being Breece Hall at his like elite level status right there. Like, he's taking those dump offs and he's going 40 yards, like that's not a great play call necessarily. That's more on what Brees can do. And yeah, maybe the play caller's got a little bit to do with having him schemed in a dump off
You
situation where he
got
has room to
you go
operate.
after
But
him, man.
yeah, but the other thing that bothers me with what the Jets are doing play calling wise is they don't use the damn tight ends. You
No.
have Mason Taylor, like they tried that screen on third down earlier in the game. The throw wasn't perfect. Mason kind of didn't hold on to it. But even if you do, was there room there? I don't know. But yeah, they got to find ways. I think Tanner and you see Ben Johnson have issues with this too. And it comes from the same camp. They love to utilize the middle of that field with crossers, and their tight ends are really never really put in a position, and their running backs out of the backfield to do much catching wise. They like to utilize their wide receivers. Now, our wide receivers, Ryan, look, these kids as like wide receiver 3s and 4s. We might have something with this Metchie 80 Mitchell thing. When Garrett Wilson's back next year or whenever he's going to be back, you can kind of start seeing that, hey, this receiving core with a solid, hopefully we can get solid quarterback play. You might have something there. So
that's what you hope for, but you just, yeah, man, I don't have really any answers taken from this game. I just feel like there's more questions, if anything, about this offense and where they're going. Clearly you need the quarterback. You're missing the quarterback. We knew that with Tyrod. He's 37 years old, or soon to be 37 years old. He's not the answer. He's a backup quarterback, and that's what he gave you today. He's a backup quarterback level performance in a game that I felt like the Jets actually could have won against the Ravens. Like they could have beaten the Ravens. The Ravens didn't look like world beaters today, either offensively or defensively. I think the Ravens were keying on the run. Frankie, they knew the Jets were going to try and run the ball. They ran a lot of blitzes on run plays, which are first down, second down, and longs. They knew that the Jets were keying in on the run, and they said, you know what, we'll send our pressure on the outside, and good for them. I mean, they called it right defensively. Let's flip it to the defensive side of the ball, because this is where I have, besides the vanilla part of the offense for the Jets, the defense, Frankie, that's where I have real issues with this team. And by that, I mean, I don't think Steve Wilkes has done anything to help take the pressure off of him, or at least the hot seat like that he's on, because in my opinion, I don't understand his scheme. I don't understand what he's doing. You had the Ravens in a really tough spot before they took the lead, Frankie, where you said 17-7. The play call on third and I think it was third and 7. What was that play call? Sorry. It was 17-7 at this point. The Jets are only down 10. It's third and 7, and they're at the 20-yard line, the Ravens. And Lamar drops back, and you got Tony Adams, a safety, who's not good in pass coverage, one-on-one with the Ravens' number 1 wide receiver in Zay Flowers. How is no one calling a timeout and saying, we need to figure that one out because that's not going to work? Why is Tony in the slot lined up one-on-one with Zay Flowers? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So Lamar throws the ball up, gets the pass interference call for Zay Flowers.
Funny pass interference call.
And then let's go 3 plays later. The Jets actually have it at 4th and goal from the 2. It's a long 2. And Michael Clemens gets absolutely washed down into the middle, and it's a walk-in touchdown for Derrick Henry. It just, this defense is not good. And I know the Ravens offense is really not that spectacular right now. And the Jets did held them to limited yardage, and it was really just the penalties that hurt them big time for the long plays. But in terms of effectiveness, when you needed the key stops or creating a turnover or getting a stop on 3rd or 4th down, they just come up short again, man.
Yeah, listen, I'm not really sure where to go with the defense here. I think they played hard today. I think they're just, there's not enough talent there, especially in the secondary, to keep up. I mean, Lamar had a pretty good day for his, stand to the last couple of weeks, considering, but it's not like he lit us up on the ground or even through the air at 153 yards. So
he looked hurt.
Yeah, I mean, they did what they had to do. I mean, they were talking about how they went through a walkthrough for the Thanksgiving game, literally, the Friday before they're playing the Jets. I don't think the Ravens took this team seriously at all, and I don't really think they had to. You have a bunch of, tier 3 level guys there on defense, and that's really all they needed to do. Exactly what they kind of did today. The Jets, I will give them credit though, their defense for stopping the run. Baltimore 34 carries for 98 yards. That's 2.9 yards a carry. giving up on the ground. So Jamian Sherwood led the team with 13 tackles today.
He was a baller today.
Double anyone else's, output tackle wise. So, I mean, listen, Ryan, yeah, I don't know why Wilkes doesn't do things to be a little bit more aggressive. It seems like he's always trying to be in like this bend but don't break style and like just hold up and play man, or they played a little bit more zone today, but
they played zone, but then on key downs, they played man. He had Tony in man coverage, Adams in man coverage against Zay Flowers. It just didn't make sense. As soon as you saw the replay, you're like, hold on, why is Tony Adams covering Zay Flowers in the slot? Like, it's happened multiple times this year where the number one wide receiver, Frankie's had these mismatches on the Jets' worst DBs.
Yeah.
And you're like, guys, I see it on the sideline. I know you're hoping a play can happen, but you're more likely than not going to make a play here on 3rd down or 4th down. So it's frustrating, man, when like this defense, like you said, plays the bend but don't break. And then the worst part is we are now gone into 13 games without a turnover in terms of an interception for this Jets defense. I mean, it's record-breaking, Frankie, what this defense is doing. So, I don't know. Is it luck? Is it the guys aren't in the right position? Are they just not talented enough? Does Steve Wilkes get a ton of blame here? Again, the Jets cannot force a turnover against a banged-up Lamar Jackson and really not that great of a passing attack.
Ryan, man, I think sometimes we have to consider this with the Jets and that secondary. There's not been one time I've seen this year where a safety or a corner has even tried to bait a quarterback into making a bad throw that could be intercepted. I haven't seen it once this year. Now, what does that tell me? Yeah, is it some on coaching? Definitely. But it's also on A.Z. Thomas is a rookie. Malachi Moore is a rookie. Tony Adams really isn't that good.
No.
Brandon Stevens is just trying to figure out how to take on a leadership role in that group there and to be one of the guys, but he wasn't even a top 2 corner last year on the team he came from, which we played today in Baltimore. So you're asking guys that, Ryan, I think just are not quality D-backs or are not there yet because of their inexperience specifically. There's not even an opportunity. There's no baiting. And it's not like they're getting help from the front 7 where the front 7 is putting all this pressure, this doom and gloom pressure on quarterbacks that they're just putting balls up there and allowing these guys to make plays. So like, it's a double-edged sword there. You're kind of beating yourselves on both ends. You're not putting enough pressure on them, and you're not even doing anything to confuse the quarterback into, masking certain types of coverages. It's just they're just playing what Steve Wilkes calls they're not that talented, or they're not that good. And then you get, these first 11 games, you don't have an interception. It's literally impossible, man. It's literally impossible to do in today's NFL.
Dude, even McCourty on the broadcast was like, it's really not that hard to get interception. I mean, quarterbacks are throwing balls up there, which I thought Lamar was floating some passes up there. And you're like, but there's just no defenders in space or no defenders there where the ball's going. And most of the time, these guys are just drawing defensive holdings or pass interference. And you're like, play the ball. Play the ball. I know you're trying to play the man, but play the ball. I know they're trying to be coached. I know Aaron Glenn is trying to coach these guys that way, but I'm going to blame Steve Wilkes a little bit on this, man. I just feel like his defense is, again, we use that term vanilla. I would use that for Steve Wilkes' defense. There is nothing special or spectacular about his defensive scheme. He's not drawing up blitzes when he needs to. I think he tries to play very safe and sound defense and not get beat with explosive plays. And I just ultimately think that when you need a stop or you need a turnover in the worst way, when you're down 2 scores, the Jets just can't do it defensively right now. And there's something that needs to be taught to these guys, and they need that experience to be more aggressive and have that dog mentality. Because I think that's part of it too, Frankie. You highlighted that earlier. Yeah. I think it might have been this week or a previous week where you're like, Ryan, they don't have guys with that dog mentality where they know, hunt the ball, go after the ball. I'm going to get that ball no matter what, whether it's an interception or forcing a fumble, strip sack. And this is where we kind of have to flip it back again to what the Ravens did. They got the key turnover. They flipped the momentum in the game. The Jets are driving down the field, down 2 scores, 17-7. What happens, Frank? They get the key fumble from Breece Hall. Breece can't go. Breece doesn't go down. He's trying to force a couple extra yards, which, again, he's carrying the entire offense at that point down that field for the drive. He had the huge screen pass dump off, like you said, goes for a couple, like 40 yards. He has a great run before that. It's like, but then at the end, when he has the chance to go down and the Jets are going to be first and goal, the Ravens force the turnover. And that's the difference between a really good team and a really bad team like the New York Jets are right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's there's not enough throughout the course of a game. And then in big spots, they're not able to capitalize. Brees there, he carried us that whole drive, like you were saying. But at the biggest moment, right before the end zone there, basically, you're trying too hard, and that happens. I'm not going to blame Brees there. That happens. You're at a disadvantage on offense. You're doing whatever you can as the main guy there to carry your team on your back. You're trying to roll yourself in there, and you're going to have someone like Marlon Humphrey, who's a pretty good player in this league, making a good play. So. Yeah, that's this Jets team, man. And the other thing is, you gotta. I think the other problem with this team, Ryan, is they're not, especially on defense, they're not maximizing big plays from their best players. Like Will McDonald was MIA today.
I think he's hurt. I think Frank, he's hurt. Kaz was trying to tell me that on Monday. Like,
really,
he was on the injury report again this week with a quad injury, and he was on it last week with a quad injury. So he's like, I think he plays off his explosiveness, right? And like he plays off his speed and ability to get off the ball. So if you're talking about a speed rusher dealing with a leg injury, it's tough, I think, for him to try and battle through it. Obviously, there's that saying where if you're injured enough but you can play, then you're not injured. But if you can't play, then you shouldn't play. You know what I mean? Like there's that sense of as an athlete, a professional athlete, whether you try to tough it through or not, is he doing more harm than good for them? Yeah, he was held off the stat sheet today.
Yeah. I'm looking right now. I'm like, where the hell's Will McDonald on this thing? He might be hurt. But with that being said, Jermaine Johnson, come up with a sack, man. Like we had one sack as a team today. We're one of the worst teams in football actually at getting to the quarterback.
Yep.
We're bottom 10.
It's a vanilla defense, brother.
There.
They don't dial up pressure the right way.
I wish too with this defense, and hopefully going into next year they can start thinking about it. These D-backs are big boys. A.Z. Thomas is a big boy. Brandon Stevens is a big boy. Malachi Moore, Tony Adams, they're big guys. They can hit, man. They're physical. Our linebackers are big boys. Jamie and Sherwood, Quincy Williams.
They're fast too.
They are. Can you dial up some freaking blitzes here, Steve Wilks? Can you do something? You saw with Jamie and Sherwood, he had a nice play getting to Lamar Jackson. I don't even know if that was schemed up. That might have been a delayed blitz, but do more of that. You do more of that, you get your quarterback, if they can hold up in the back half, which is always a what if, but if they can, you're maybe going to, force something.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Frankie. Lamar Jackson coming into today was sacked 23 times coming into today. That was the same amount he was sacked entirely in 17 games last season. So the offensive line has not been good for them this year. So the fact that he's been sacked that many times and the Jets only got one sack on Lamar, who was dealing with a leg injury, multiple leg injuries the past 2 weeks, it's not a great showing from this Jets defense. They play a very vanilla scheme, and it's just tough, in my opinion, Frank. You tell me, are you doing a disservice to these young defenders that you highlighted? A.Z. Thomas, Jamie and Sherwood, Quincy Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Jawan Briggs, Malachi Moore. All of these defenders that they have that are young, are you doing them a disservice by just playing vanilla concepts with them and not having them dial up pressures, not having them get after the quarterback, and not having them go aggressive after the ball, and just play really conservatively, in my opinion?
Yeah.
And you're doing more harm than good because you're not putting them in pressure situations that they can actually go make a play, and you're not getting a real evaluation out of them. Am I wrong to think that way?
No, you're not wrong to think that way, but I'll tell you why that is happening. I don't think they understand what the scheme is yet, and they're trying to just learn the basics of the Steve Wilks defense, whatever you want to call that. I think they're trying to learn. Listen, Steve Wilks has been around forever, man.
Yeah.
You're taking an old school guy that's been in the league and been in NFL circles and been coaching football forever. You're trying to teach these young guys how to run what he wants to run, and I don't think he has confidence that they know how to run what he wants to run. So they're just going to run the basics of that defense. But you're right. I'd love to see them be a little bit more aggressive in their scheme. I don't even think that the players themselves are confident enough or are willing to do it because they know Wilks will rip their heads off to do it on their own.
Yeah.
Mask a cover 2 and then drop into a cover 3. Like, have something, play man, but you might get off that man coverage because you see something that you do on your own. I mean, if you watch like or listen to Ed Reed talk about this stuff, sometimes a defensive coach might say, hey, you're going to be in the cover 2, but hey, I'm going to sniff it out and maybe I'm going to just drop into a cover 3 on my end or drop back in that deep half because I see something that is just instinctive that you think about it, a half a second before plays hiked. So they're not doing that, Rye. And I think these young guys are just trying to run the basics. But yeah, I want to see them take more chances. I think they'll become better players if they're doing that. You don't even see guys trying to jump balls. Like, quarterback gets it out, just jump it. If you have it, you have it. If you don't, yeah, it's going to be 50 yards the other way, but try.
Right.
It's so conservative. It is. And that's it on both sides today. I thought the play calling on offense today was pretty damn conservative too.
That's what I'm saying, man. Really it's vanilla and conservative. So I just wonder if Aaron Glenn went into this week thinking, you know what, this is a Ravens team that's a little banged up. They're not playing the greatest. We can play smart, sound football and not as aggressive as I felt like they could have gone today. But it's one of those, Frankie, where I think that Glenn and the guys would be like, oh, that's BS. Like we played our asses off, which some of the guys did. I think you marked it. Breece Hall, I thought, played his ass off today. He had that one fumble, which killed them, obviously, and really lost him the football game because that killed all momentum in the game. I thought that Jawan Briggs had a hell of a game. Jamie and Sherwood had a hell of a game today. Like, they had some really, really good performances, but this was a winnable game, in my opinion, against the Ravens. And unfortunately for Frankie, this was a trip like Aruba for him on the moped scooter where, he's feeling good. He's feeling fine. He's enjoying his trip. But before you know it, he stumbles, falls, boom, and reality hits you in the face where the Jets just aren't a good football team and they're not winning football games. And I don't want one of these games, Frankie, where this felt like a preseason game. It felt like a vanilla game where we'll go into the end of the year and we're like, hey, remember that game against the Ravens where they had a chance to actually win it and they just didn't really come out in the second half and gave themselves a chance, and then really they fumbled it literally and figuratively away with Breece Hall at the end?
Yeah, well, I was about to go there. Aaron Glenn better not think that, he's on like borrowed time or something. Or maybe he should think he's on borrowed time, but you keep stacking up these L's, man. I mean, I want a higher draft pick, so I'm okay with it. But you keep stacking up these L's, man. It's not a good look. Like don't think like yeah, I know we're checked out, Jeff fans. We're 2-9. We were checked out when we started the year 0-7. Like, we're checked out, but don't like pound your chest and say you had these guys playing hard all year and you did a good job year one when you beat Cincinnati by a point on a miracle, and then Cleveland, who is just, people are wondering if they're tanking. So let's be honest here.
At least they have something fun to watch though with Shador.
Yeah, they got a few rookies, playing quarterback.
They have one of the best defenses in the NFL too.
They do. Yeah. They have something to look forward to. They got one of the best edge players locked up for a while. They can maneuver. Yeah, you're 2-9, Aaron Glenn. Don't get too comfortable right now. A loss for you is different than a loss for us. A loss for us as fans, we don't care. We're not making the playoffs. Right now, we might be mathematically out of the playoffs. So, don't think that, like, because we don't care that you are on, like, oh, you're playing with house
Cruise
money.
Control.
Because, yeah, exactly. Because you have another year. More likely than not, he's definitely coming back next year. So, like, don't think like, though, like, we're just gonna, or your boss Woody Johnson is just gonna like be okay with you finishing the year 3-14 or 2-15, which is possible. I mean, like, listen, we're playing Atlanta, who has a really good defense, although their defense has looked pretty bad the last couple of weeks. But for the year, they've
just
been pretty
talking
good.
At both sides of your mouth. This is a pretty good defense, but although the defense does not look good.
No, overall for the year, they've had a pretty good defense. That they've just, I don't know what happened to them last couple of weeks. I have no clue. Got Miami, Ryan,
who've looked a lot better recently.
Yes. Then we're at Jacksonville, Saints, Patriots, and Bills. So, I mean, the only team there you could really chalk up as being something easy-ish is New Orleans, but you're on the road, and it's always hard to beat New Orleans on the road. So
look, if they didn't get a miracle Brees Hall pass touchdown to Cincinnati against the Bengals at the end of the game, and if they don't have 2 special teams returns for touchdowns, Frankie, and those are ifs.
Yeah, you're right.
But those are humongous plays. If those 3 plays don't happen, the Jets are 0-13 right now. 0-13.
0-11.
0-11. I can't do math.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me. I can't do math. 0-11.
0-11.
0-11. Think about that.
Yeah.
But I don't think Aaron Glenn is getting fired. Like Frankie's saying, Aaron Glenn should pay attention to the win-loss. He's not going to pay attention to the win-loss. All he cares about is the team's effort and guys that he thinks he can build this team with going forward, which, again, I didn't feel like that mentality was had today. Like, I felt like, again, it was a very go through the motion. We're in Baltimore. No one thinks we're going to win this. We're 13.5-point dogs. Let's call it conservative game plan. Draw some run plays on 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7, which didn't make any goddamn sense in the world. And then 4th and shorts, we're not drawing up smart plays for our quarterback. And then I think Tyrod at the end just really killed them. He didn't get the ball out of his hands quick enough. Didn't feel the pressure like Frankie said. They lost this game, man. They lost this game because I didn't think they were in it, in my opinion. I didn't think they were in it.
Yeah, I know. Piggybacking off of what you're saying, man, like, when you play a team like Baltimore, who's favored by 2 scores, the Jets did cover though. That's big news for a lot of people. I actually had a parlay. I had the Jets plus 13.5. Nothing really else hit. Actually, Derrick Henry scoring hit. A.D. Mitchell scoring did not hit. And John Metchie, I had a 20-plus yard reception, and shocker, he got 19. It's my luck this last month. But listen, man, you're playing Baltimore on the road. Are you going to try something? Like, I don't really care because I don't really care if they lose at this point. But are you going to try something, coaching staff, on both sides of the ball? And it's not all on Aaron Glenn. Tanner Engstrom, you're going to try something different? Steve Wilk, we've been talking half the show about him. Are you going to try something on defense to kind of put the quarterback in a bad position? Do something exotic? I mean, like, if this coaching staff wants to be this vanilla, you better get some really good players over the next year and a half, because you got a long freaking way to go if you want to start talking about competing in this league against some of those top teams in the league. Although the AFC's, light this year, you never know. Year to year, things change. So I don't know. Like, now, as fans, instead of evaluating the players per se, we got to start evaluating the coaches too. And I'm not talking about just Aaron Glenn, obviously. So they have to put something together that just feels different. Are they playing hard? Yeah. But what is playing hard? Not getting blown out? I mean, I don't know. Is that the bar we're setting? Like, right. Oh, they didn't get blown out. They
didn't get blown out. They didn't get blown out by the Ravens. That's exactly what it felt like today, Frankie. And I know we sound like idiot fans. Like, we probably sound like idiot fans. Like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. It's like, fine. But, like, that is what the vibe of today was. Let's not get blown out. Let's keep it close at halftime, right? Which they did. Let's play close to the third quarter, but then eventually the Ravens are just going to be like, yeah, all right, you guys really are one of the worst teams in football, and we're going to show you why, and which they did. And that's where you give credit to the Ravens at the end there. They caused the turnover. They got with the big play they needed to. The Jets could not get the big play on offense or defense today, which has been typical for them all season long, and which has been a very, very miserable, just lost season for them. 2-9 right now. Speaking of Tankathon, Frankie, for the fans that do pay attention to that, the Jets now currently sit at 3rd in terms of the 2026 draft order. They sit behind the Tennessee Titans, who are 1-10, which they seem to be locking up that number 1 pick, as they are going towards a fast lane to the number 1 pick again, 2 years in a row. The Giants, who battled the Lions and actually lost in overtime, which actually hurt the Jets, they're second at 2-10, and the Jets are right behind them at 2-9, and the Cleveland Browns right behind them at 4 are actually up 14-0 right now against the Las Vegas Raiders. Your boy Shador just threw a big bomb to Isaiah Bond.
No, did he really? Oh,
yeah.
Boy.
Yep. The Browns are fun, man. Browns are fun.
Sean Judkins 2 touchdowns. Yeah, it's interesting team they got going on there.
Jets have none of that right now. They have, like, I saw one comment here, Frankie, and I'll bring this up from Whoa Man 4766. Metchie is a keeper. look, I think it's awesome that John Metchie, a guy who had dealt with a knee injury, and I believe he went through leukemia or cancer, I believe, and has been going through it for a career, and it's been a tough start. He had a promising start to his career down in Houston, and then, like I said, the knee injury, and I believe he battled cancer, but I'm not sure what. Let me make sure I get this right. I don't want to butcher this, Frankie. I know he had a battle there. Yeah, he had cancer. It was leukemia, which is crazy. Back in August 3rd, 2023. He lost a year there, and he also had a knee injury, which was pretty horrific also, but he was pretty damn talented coming out of college from Alabama. And, his first year, unfortunately, he played six, he only had 158 yards. Second year, that was in 2023, and then I believe he had the cancer battle. And then 2024, he had 37 catches for 254 yards and a touchdown before he blew out his knee. And then he plays for the Eagles last year, doesn't really do much there, and now he's with the Jets here in 2025. So, I mean, look, I'm rooting for him. I don't know if he's a keeper yet. I think you need to see more from him. But today was a nice day when you consider what he was able to do. And this will bring us to give him your flowers. I'll give my flowers to John Metchie. 2 straight weeks with a touchdown in the air. And then he finished with a total line of 6 catches, 65 yards with a touchdown. His longest today went for 19, 7 targets. Look, I hope John Metchie's a keeper, but I just don't know if I'm willing to say, yeah, he's definitely going to be back next year with the Jets.
Yeah, I like that a lot, right? Something else I noticed and looked up, John Metchie played in 38 games in the NFL thus far. And today was 39. In those 39 games, today was the second highest receiving total he's had in his career, which he actually hit after the first half. So he had 65 yards, his second highest total since he's been in the league. Maybe that coaching staff, Tanner, the wide receivers coach, maybe they like him. They're giving him opportunities really early, and didn't seem like he had many opportunities earlier in the NFL, and also due to his, health diagnosis, which, was terrible for him. And shout outs to him. I like those flowers. But I'm going to give flowers to somebody that I've heard Jet fans, for people in the media, they've been crapping on this guy all season. They think this guy is overpaid. They think he's overrated. They think he stinks. Jamie and Sherwood today was all over the place. If Jamie Sherwood continues to develop, remember, young player trying to learn how to be an NFL, top NFL linebacker in this league, former 5th round pick by Joe Douglas. People don't remember that. I give it to Jamie Sherwood. He had 13 tackles today, more than double the second highest person. We had 4 Jets today with 6 tackles. Shout outs to Jamie Sherwood. He's been dragged through the mud a little bit. He's been questioned throughout this year. A lot of accounts are ripping them daily about, that money's, too much. Is it a little bit too much? Yeah, it's a little bit too much. I paid a little bit too much for this freaking coffee. I paid $6 for this thing. We all pay a little bit too much, okay? So sometimes you pay a little bit too much, but it's all right. Deal with it, all right? So I like me some Jamie Sherwood, and I'm glad he's going to be our middle linebacker for at least the next couple of years, I would say, hopefully.
Yeah, and I was wrong. John Metchie actually tore his ACL in college at Alabama, but he had the leukemia in 2023, which took away the rest of his year. But then in 2024, he came back, had a pretty solid year. But he's gone through it when you talk about in terms of off the field, battling cancer, which is insane. And he's out in the field right now catching touchdowns back-to-back weeks for the Jets. And I love your pick for Jamie Sherwood. Guy got a huge contract in the offseason, has really struggled with this new defense, but today was really damn impressive. I thought he had one of the best plays of the day when Lamar, I think, was going for the scramble, and he's spying on him, and he just makes an incredible tackle in space on him. If he can be consistent, then the Jets have a foundational piece at the linebacker spot because Quincy Williams is a free agent. I think we know Mayawaga is not going to be Kiko, right? Does he say Kiko Mayawaga?
Yeah. Yep. Dude, you nailed that one. Let's go.
I did something right. Finally.
Boys back.
Kiko Mayawaga, I don't think is a real linebacker for them. And I don't think he'll ever be a real linebacker. He might be a special teams player for them. But if Jamie can be locked up and maybe Juwan Briggs sticks around, who knows what Harrison Phillips, the interior of this defense really needs to be rebuilt, Frankie. And the whole defense needs to be rebuilt, to be honest with you. So it's nice to see Jamie Sherwood have a really big day against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense.
Totally. You know something else, man, that's a little bit disappointing? our special teams this year, for the most part, has been incredible.
Incredible.
They've been excellent. Even today with the returns, Isaiah Williams had a big day returning.
And Wanu, who's dealing with an injury, he played through, I think, the injury again. Like,
had a nice kickoff return, 34 yards. Isaiah Williams had 4 kickoff returns for 122 yards, averaged over 30 yards per kickoff return, and then had a nice couple punt returns there. Our punter is awesome, McNamara, and then Nick Falk hasn't missed a field goal all year. We're doing that, and this team can't win.
No.
So your special teams is constantly, at the top of the league, or you're coming into a game and we're going to check off the special teams box. And the old adage is, if you win 2 out of 3, you're winning football games. Well, we're winning special teams on most weeks, and it doesn't matter, though. This team is 2-9, and that's another thing that I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Aaron Glenn, what would your record be if you didn't have a good special teams unit? Which you don't know. Is that Chris Banjos that's making that happen? Are you going to take credit for that? So I'm just saying he's been lucky that he's had a special teams unit like that, but it's not really equating to many wins.
No,
because I guarantee there's a lot of teams in football that are at like they're around 500 that would wish they had a special teams unit like we have.
Frankie, your boy Tiffany Gregory is going after your boy
Let's hear this. Let's go.
Tanner can't blame Justin Fields anymore, and he says making the offense so predictable is the problem, not the quarterback. Taking one of your top playmakers in Justin Fields isn't going to help that.
All right, let me ask you all a question. Tyrod Taylor, John Metchie, A.D. Mitchell, and Mason Taylor is the core of this pass-catching group. It's the quarterback, it's your tight end 1, and it's your 2 top receivers. What do you think's going to happen? Like, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to bail them out, but like, what'd you think Tyrod was going to throw for 300 yards today? Like, I don't know what to tell you all. Like, I don't. He had 222 yards. He threw for a touchdown. He hit the over, by the way. He had the over 0.5, going back to our preview show. I don't know what to tell anybody, honestly. I mean, like, I get it, but Tanner is working with nothing. And I find it hard to blame him for the offense not scoring. He has some culpability. He does, but he's not the main reason for me that this offense can't score. I think the quarterback play in a vacuum is garbage. I didn't think the quarterback play was anything special today either. Tyrod is not able to evade pressures in the pocket to buy him more time. And when he does have some time, it seems like he was finding people, but we're not going to know who Tanner Engstrand is until we get a quality quarterback back there or somebody that's young and ready to learn. Tyrod's on his last legs, man. It's like,
what about this one, Frankie, from Tiffany? He's going back at you, or she. Y'all blaming the quarterback for the audible sent in by the O coordinator is hilarious.
It was an audible. If you go back and look at it, it was 3rd and 7. Tyrod goes audibles to a run to Isaiah Davis. He looks at the line. He looks at the front 7. He notices that something's not stacked up right, and he calls a running play. I'm telling you right now, that's 100% what happened. You can go and look at the all-22. Everyone's like, that 3rd and 7. Tanner did not call an HB dive to Isaiah Davis on 3rd and 7.
He did the second time, though.
He did call it later on in the game.
Which is terrible again.
It's a 3rd and 5, I think he called. They got 2 yards again or whatever.
What are we doing? And then we don't go for the terrible play call on the 4th down. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, dude. Like, I'm telling you right now, the Jets have serious question marks at offensive and defensive coordinator going to the offseason. They have question marks about this entire coaching staff, if we're being frank about it all. Like, we don't know what this team is going to be next year. They're going to have some high draft picks. They're going to have some serious cap space to play with. But I'm just telling you right now, people, there are ginormous question marks about this entire coaching staff from top to bottom, except for the special teams, which Frankie eloquently just highlighted, has been on point all year long. The special teams has been the only highlight of this Jets team this entire year. But I think Steve Wilkes is probably going to be the scapegoat for the Jets this year, because there's no way Woody Johnson is going to go in next year without sacrificing a little bit of blood to the fans, because you cannot go the rest of this year winless and go 2-15 for the season and say, we're bringing everyone back. In my opinion, Frankie, you have to fire someone. So I think Steve Wilkes will probably be the scapegoat. And by the way, it's deservedly so how bad he has been as a coordinator. And we've highlighted all show long here already. It's very vanilla defense. They don't get after the quarterback. They don't turn the ball over. They don't really do anything well. So make him the scapegoat. But the rookie offensive coordinator, Tanner Engstrand, He's going to get his chance with his quarterback next year. You would hope.
Yeah,
he needs to prove immediately, that this is not going to be a vanilla offense that is going to be effective and consistent and not have questionable play calling on 3rd and long or 3rd and short.
Yeah. If you look at what Tanner wants to do, he wants to utilize his wide receivers across the middle of the field, period. He wants crossers. He wants guys running in routes, dig routes. He wants to utilize that middle of the field. He might have some, he might have some, what's it called when you have him on the outside as sort of like props, running streaks and post corners to kind of separate out. But he wants to utilize his receivers across the middle of the field. He doesn't have those receivers right now. John Metchie's game today, a lot of it was by scheme. A lot of those routes were really nicely done. I mean, listen, I'm grasping, I guess, at straws here with this. But Ryan, I don't know what else did we expect. I thought the offense, if you
be more consistent with getting the ball to Breece in the space, get the ball to him in the passing game. He was your best receiver, clearly. Use your tight ends. They did not target the tight ends at all today, pretty much. Three catches from Mason Taylor, the rookie, is abhorrent. It's not good. And for you to not get the ball to John Metchie more, in my opinion, is a crime. The guy was making plays in space, whether it was underneath in the crosser routes, Frankie, or on the edge. John Metchie was actually a weapon for you today, and it just felt like you didn't consistently go at those type of plays when you needed to.
Yeah. It's a rough watch because the talent's not there and the quarterback is not there. And today, for some reason, it didn't look like our offensive line didn't really carry or didn't do enough where you could like depend on them to carry this offense today. I think Baltimore came in there and said, hey, we're not afraid of you guys, obviously, up front. And they kind of hit this offensive line in the mouth a little bit. I didn't think there was enough movement, too, on the ground. I think Tanner wanted to come into this game because we spoke about it on our preview show. Baltimore has a top 5 team in coverage based on PFF, and they were sort of low against the run. I think they wanted to establish a running game, and they just couldn't. Breece Hall, again, we spoke about it, averaged 2.8 yards to carry. Isaiah Davis had 4 carries for 7 yards. There wasn't enough there. Tyrod had 19 yards on the ground. So as a team, we tried 26 runs overall. We had that Arian Smith reverse that went for 8 yards. But I think they wanted to establish a run, Ryan, and that sort of would have helped Tyrod open things up. And when you can't establish a run, it's tough to have a backup quarterback who's aging quickly, it seems like. On his sort of last limb, kind of trying to throw to these wide receiver 3s and 4s. I don't know what we expected. I thought there were some nice things offensively at times, but when you're not able to convert those 4th downs and you're fumbling a yard and a half away from scoring, that's the difference in the game right there. I mean, that's from a game that's could be winnable to a game that it's not winnable. The game's over there.
I completely agree with you, bud. I agree with you. I agree with you with the talent part. Like, they don't have enough talent on offense. The offensive line was definitely a disappointment today because they had been consistently good, in my opinion. I think the only other time they struggled really was against, you could argue, Denver. I think that they, though, really had a good, they've been on a really good streak there and playing some solid football. But yeah, this reminded me a lot of the game versus Dallas, where you went down the field, you had a chance to score, and Breece fumbled there. Right when they were trying to get close in the game, in a 1-score game, and Breece fumbled again.
Totally.
That's what this was. This was the same game as against Dallas, right, Frankie? Like, it's just like you kept it close, and then eventually, they said, you know what, we're the better football team. We're going to pull away here. So, final thoughts, Frankie Vittorini, as the Jets fall to 2-9, 3rd in the NFL tankathons for all the tank fans out there. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, the other thing today that bothered me, we didn't touch on this, but the penalties today, again, creeped back up. We had 6 penalties for 81 yards.
Those get lost because of the goddamn team losing football games.
Yeah. We stopped talking about that. And my final thoughts are Aaron Glenn, again, Aaron Glenn, have to prove to me as a fan, to Ryan as a fan, works in the media, you have to prove to us that we have faith in you going into next year and the year after, because you're going to have a big offseason. We have a ton of money. We have a ton of draft capital the next couple of years. Do I have faith in you being the CEO of the New York Jets right now to make the proper moves to put this team in a position to finally win some football games and make the playoffs, which the drought you can officially say is checked off after you lose your 9th game. It's not good enough. And I sort of came in saying, oh, they played hard, but F that. Okay. They played hard because they didn't get blown out. Is that playing hard? It's not good enough. This coaching staff overall, led by the head coach, Aaron Glenn, it was not good enough today. The penalties again were there today. Do better, man. Do better to give me confidence. You did nothing today. What? You just went in with your guns. You have some defenders that played hard at times and were running all over the place. You had a vanilla scheme both ways, and you lost by 13. All right, congratulations. It was like the game last week. Nothing special. It was a chalk game. It's not good enough, man. And I'm not going to sit here the rest of the season doing shows and post games or whatever. I'm not going to sit here and just say, oh, Aaron Glenn, it's all right. Don't worry about it. Like, you got your 2 wins. We're not going 0-17. I'll forget about everything. No, he should be judged every damn game from here on out. Seriously, because we cannot just afford as fans to just say, oh, it doesn't really matter. Who cares about the next game? I'm not saying win them, but do something, man, that like makes me have belief in you moving forward. The ultimate goal is winning a Super Bowl. Seriously, is this guy the guy to do it? That's my standard, and that should be everyone's standard, actually.
Yeah, I cannot echo Frankie's statements enough about Aaron Glenn. The Jets today had 6 penalties for 81 yards. Aaron Glenn was asked after the game about penalties, and this is what he said. I just think the refs are looking at our guys just in general. Before every game, they come and talk to both head coaches. It just seems like they're looking at some of those calls, and I think for the most part, sometimes those calls are questionable calls, in my opinion, but they make them. The one on Isaiah Oliver was tough. The one on A.Z. Thomas was tough. But you know what? The refs made the call. We've got to be able to come over that. And then he was also asked about Breece Hall after the fumble. He says, he's my guy. And you know what? Shit happens. You don't want it to happen, but it did. The one thing I didn't want him to do was hold his head down, which he did. I know exactly how he felt in that situation. I don't want that player to ever get down on himself, which if you looked at the Breece Hall shots on the sideline after the fumble, he was exactly doing that.
He was.
Look, Aaron Glenn, I think, has done nothing in terms of solidifying himself as a good head coach or hoping that he can be a good head coach. In fact, there's more question marks about him and his decision-making, going for it on 4th down today, not going for it on 4th down earlier in the game. It's back and forth. The handling of the Denver game was questionable. He's done it multiple times this year. Game management has been iffy with Aaron Glenn. And then in terms of the mindset his team has gone in with, are we going to be aggressive on offense? Are we going to be aggressive on defense? Are we going to play more conservative like they did today? It's a mix. And I just don't think there's any consistency right now with Aaron Glenn. And it makes me wonder, do you really know where this team is? And do you have a good evaluation of it all? So we have how many more of these? 6?
Yep.
I don't know if the Jets win more than one more game the rest of this year, Frankie.
Wow.
And I think we could be heading into an offseason where this head coach is going to be on the friggin' hot seat from the fans. I just get this feeling that like people like you, and I think there's other fans across Jets Nation who are just kind of fed up with this losing, and we hate eating it like we are right now, Frankie, and we keep eating this crow, and we keep getting fed it by this Jets team and this franchise and told it'll get better. It'll get better. The hope's there. The hope is there with all these picks. Look at the amount of picks we have. Look at all the cap space we have. There needs to be a mindset of we're not going to let this be okay. And I just don't feel that right now, Frankie, especially with the way I'm seeing these post-game comments from Glenn, these post-game comments from Metchie and Tyrod and Breece. Like, I'm reading them. Like, there's like, it's like, you're like, oh, we hate losing. We hate losing. We hate losing. It's like, that's great, guys. But like, fans have been losing for fucking 15 years.
Legit.
Go ahead.
No, no, no. The other thing is this, just to throw this in there, it's not Aaron Glenn, the head coach, that worries me all that much. It's Aaron Glenn, the head honcho, the person at One Jets Drive with all the keys, the GM, maybe the de facto, the real GM there making roster moves. That's what comes with Aaron Glenn. You're not just saying, oh, he's a head coach here. He's going to be making more decisions than just stuff that's happening on the field, which is as questionable as ever from any head coach we've had here. But you're looking at also moves that he has to make off the field when it comes to roster construction, which you brought up on our preview show, which I thought was spot on. It's like, I don't have any belief that this guy's going to be able to find the quarterback here, which is the most important part of this whole puzzle.
But the worst part is, though, like, even though he may be able to find the quarterback, I don't know if he's the coach that can do it. I just don't. And I have more questions about Aaron Glenn after today. And that's just my personal opinion on it. I just don't think he's solidifying himself as a good head coach. And I don't think he's solidifying himself as a guy who knows what he's doing right now. Maybe he'll figure it out in year 2. Maybe. But right now, it's ugly. It's going to continue to get ugly. It's going to continue to get worse with each loss. And we appreciate all you fans that do watch and come in here on Sundays and watch us, try to verbally get through these horrible football games and these games.
So damn boring, man.
It's boring.
Oh my Lord. This team
boring.
puts me to sleep. Like, what do you want me to bring? I was thinking about it. I was like, what do you want me to talk about today? Let's talk about something else.
It's just, we could talk about the Tankathon again. They're third. Cleveland is up right now. They're going to win probably. Maybe we'll see if they beat Vegas. New Orleans, Atlanta. It's only a 3-0 game. That's a big one for the Jets. Yeah, man. I don't know anymore.
You know what, man? Just look at players that you like and just hope that they're playing okay. Like, I like Jamie and Sherwood, you know that. So having a good game like this today. Breece Hall, I'll say this, fumble aside, had an awesome game. And
yeah, he did.
They're going to look at a game like today, and that'll help his status with that.
Juwan Briggs, I thought, was great today.
Juwan Briggs is
They might have found something there,
Yeah, really good player. Really solid player.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, listen, there's a lot of time.
Dude, we're talking about a starting running back, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. We're talking about offensive line tackles. We're talking about interior defensive line 3 and 4 on the roster. We're talking about linebacker 1. That's not what you should be talking about for post-game shows. You should be talking about a quarterback, wide receiver 1, QB, CB1. You should be talking about the head coach making great play calls, offensive coordinator making great. No, we have nothing else to talk about. Frankie Vittorini, we appreciate you, buddy, for coming on here as always. Hope you heal up fast. For all you fans out there, enjoy your Thanksgiving. We'll be back this week with Kaz, and then we'll do our preview show for Jets versus Falcons, and we'll go from there. We appreciate all of you. Hit that like and subscribe button on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel, and we'll catch you next time. I'm not going to say it because they lost, but I appreciate you, buddy, and I'll talk to you next time, Frankie.
You too, man.